My message on today is there is a blessing in a blessing. There is a blessing in a blessing. We look today and we look all around us and we see nothing but hate. If you look at the enemy, what the enemy has done to us, every time you turn on the news, it's division. Everybody's divided. Everybody's divided. Don't care. It doesn't matter if it's politics, color, race, whatever. The enemy is dividing. What is the enemy? Jesus says, with love and kindness have I drawn thee. The enemy is with hate and anger and division will I draw thee. And we look, that's all that we're getting is division. What makes you different than me? This that I speak on today, the passage that I come from on today is 2 Kings, the 4th chapter. And I love the Old Testament. I love it. I remember when I first got saved, all that I used to read was the New Testament. Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. I love, as Pastor's been teaching on Paul. But as I started to read within Paul's writing, I was just amazed that a lot of stuff that he wrote was also in the Old. It was referred back. A lot that Jesus in the red spoke about was in the Old. So I was like, oh man, you know, I was so afraid of the Old Testament. It's all that thee, thou, the, and all that other stuff, and all those names you can't pronounce, and they came from this lineage and that lineage, and that get past that. Once you get past that, then you start to understand that the Old Testament is only it's foretelling of the new. Nothing in the new you can't find in the old. And that's how I fell so in love with the Old Testament. This is one of my favorite books, 1st and 2nd Kings. And you know, I named my third son. I named him Elijah because that's one of my favorite prophets. Is Elijah, because of who Elijah was, and the relationship between Elijah and Elisha. The relationship. And that's why I also talk about today is relationships, mentorship. Sometimes we don't look at how valuable it is to have a relationship with somebody, both it be in the natural and the spiritual. And it's important in our spiritual lives to have a mentor, to have somebody that we can talk to, that we can bounce things off of, that when I'm so down and out, this person's going to tell me, they're going to tell me the truth. They ain't going to sugarcoat it. They don't care. They're going to tell me just how it is. Like my grandmother said, how a T.I. is. Just going to tell me how it is. They ain't going to play with me. And we need those type of relationships. And Deacon, when I first got saved, I remember, this is not actually when I first got saved, but this is when God started elevating me. And on my job, I just got promoted at Walmart. They made me a district manager of loss prevention, $80,000 a year, company car, company credit card, gas card. I was so happy. I worked for so long, been there almost 10 years. I was like, oh, Jesus, you have blessed me. And then, on the same token, God blessed me spiritually. I went from being a deacon in the church to now being a minister. But what you don't understand is I struggled. Because now I got this new job, and I got all of this, and they sent me from Southern California to Northern California to Oakland. They sent me to the Bay. And it was the worst district in the company, the worst. And when they said the word was, you go down to Oakland for it's a career ender. It's a career ender. You know, folks don't last 6 months, a year down there. It's just that tough. And I was like, oh, Jesus, yeah. But my mentor on my job was like, well, Maceo, you know you can't go nowhere but up. But on the spiritual side, I preached my first message at the church that I grew up in. One message, minister, one message. Then I go down here to this other church down in the Bay, and I don't know none of these folks, don't know nobody. All my mentorship, all the folks, all the mothers I knew in church, all the mothers, they love me. They seen me come up from a child. If I said something, they screaming and yelling, they happy for me. I get down there, it was a whole nother level. Whole nother level. It's a box seat of ministers and preachers, and they yanging and singing, and I mean, I ain't yanging and singing, and I'm like, oh, geez, I got to come up after this. And then with that, I had, and I love Sunday school. I love Sunday school. And you don't get to where you're at without teaching. And I was at Sunday school, and let me tell you, all the ministers, we had to be in Sunday school, and it was with all the elders, and we had an elder. His name was Elder Walker. This man dedicated his life to the Lord. This man built 3 churches for 3 different pastors, built them. And the church that we was in, which was a nice-sized church, the contractors ran off with almost $300,000, and the pastor was left with nothing. This man stepped in and finished building the rest of the church. This man was a walking Bible. This man had 10 kids, 9 of them graduated from college. He put them all through school with one income. One income. This man talked about how he would tell me, say, Lockridge, he said, my wife, every time I come home, she let me hide away and just let me study for an hour every day. He said, that's how I got this word in me. He said, because every day I hid away. And everybody was scared of Elder Walker, y'all. Because in Sunday school, if you answer something the wrong way, or let me tell you something. If you came up in Sunday school, and it was just the brothers, just the ministers in this class, and you got up there, and you said something, and he knew you didn't study, you was way off. You was way off into left field. He would let you know you way off in left field. You way off in left field. You didn't study. You didn't study your word. And he expected that the ministers and elders studied their word. They were always prepared. And when this man came to me and said, Minister, I want you to pick me up for Sunday school, I said, oh, Lord. He said, let me get your number. You need your number, because I won't call you, I won't wake you up. Make sure you pick me up on time. And he did that without fail. Where you at, Lockridge? Where you at? I'm waiting. This man's 70 years old. 70. He said, where you at, Lockridge? I said, Elder Walker, I'm right around the corner. I'm right around the corner. Every Sunday, he took me, he said, not he took me, but every Sunday I would take him to Red Lobster. Every Sunday, we sat there. This man that I was afraid of, because I was like, oh, Lord. And everybody kept wondering why he latched on to me. Why he latched on to me. But this man taught me. He taught me, y'all, for 5 years. He taught me what it took. He said, don't you ever be worried. When you study, show yourself approved. Say, get up there. He said, don't worry about what they look like. He told me all these secret things about the ministry, all the downfalls. He taught me. And that's what in this is what I want to talk about, because sometimes we don't understand relationships. Relationships and how important relationships are. Today, everybody knocks everything. And just like this, some of y'all, my middle name is Kareem. Maceo Kareem Lockridge. My mother loved the Lakers. My father loved music, and he loved James Brown. And y'all know James Brown used to say, "Go Maceo, go Maceo, go Maceo." Now, Maceo Parker now he does jazz. He plays a saxophone. And my dad said, "I don't care what your name is, first name, middle name, but I want it Maceo." My mama said she loved Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. She said, so his middle name gonna be Kareem. So I grew up a Laker fan. That's all. I can remember when the power went out one year, y'all. The power went out. The power went out, and my dad jumped on the generator. He went outside, put the TV to the generator outside. He put some, make sure gas was in it, turned it on. We started watching the game outside because the power went out in the neighborhood, and everybody seen that we had our TV on the back of the truck. Everybody came up on their bikes looking at the Laker game. But I say that to say this, that I look at LeBron James. My wife knows I'm not a big fan of LeBron. I'm not a big fan. But I love that LeBron's coming to L.A. and let me tell you why. Because LeBron, what they say, I think I was hearing the other day, he spends $1.5 million to keep his body in shape. 1.5, he invests that much in his body so that he can play at the level that he plays at. So why would you not want somebody like that with these young kids, these young players that they got right now? You want to elevate their game? Bring somebody that's been to the NBA Finals 9 times. Straight out of high school. That's what you need. It's mentorship. It's mentorship. Let's get to the word. But I said all of that to make a point to what I'm talking about. There is a blessing in a blessing. In 2 Kings 4, 8, and 9, and I'm reading from the Message Bible, so it might be a little bit different. And it fell on a day that Elijah passed to Shunem, where was a great woman, and she constrained him to eat bread. And so it was that as oft as he passed by, he turned in thither to eat bread. And she said unto her husband, Behold, now I perceive that this is a holy man of God, which passeth by us continually. Now, I have only 3 points, and I'm going to be done, so I won't be long. But that's what you say. But my first topic is this. Pay attention. My sons hear me say this all the time. Pay attention. And I think my wife hear me talking to them all the time. Pay attention. I think they get tired of me talking about pay attention. I think that's only 2 words I know. Pay attention. The reason why I talk about paying attention is it's important to know what's going on around you. Because sometimes if you just pay attention about what's going on around you, you'll know what to do. You may not know what to do. You may be in an environment that you've never been in before. But if you just pay attention, you just stop and pay attention. You don't have to be first. Okay, you go ahead. You go first. And I do what you do. Pay attention. This Shunammite woman paid attention. She was not a Jew. She observed this man going to and fro, and she said, I perceive that this man is a holy man of God. I perceive it. Sometimes all you got to do is just watch people and understand Elijah was a famous man at this time. But understand he was liked and disliked. Some people liked him, some people disliked him. But sometimes don't worry about what they say. Don't worry about what they say about somebody. Forget what they put on Facebook. Forget what they put on Instagram. Forget what they put on Twitter. Find out what a person is for yourself. Don't get hung up on what they say. You might miss out on a blessing because you've heard too much of what they say. Observe, watch, see what's going on. This man walked, didn't ask for nothing. This woman just said, I want to be a blessing. Sometimes all you got to do is see a need. See a need. I don't want nothing from you. I don't want nothing from you, Elijah. I just see a need. I see a need in the church. And I just do it. I don't need the pastor to get over here and ask everybody, can you do this? Can you do that? I just see a need. Not for no title, not for no position, nothing in the church. I'm not cozying up to the Sunday school teacher so I can be a Sunday school teacher. I'm not cozying up to the pastor so I can be a deacon. I'm just doing it because I see a need. I don't need you to praise me. I don't need you to come up here and say, oh, brother Lockridge went out, he bought us a sink for the bathroom. I don't need you to say that. I seen a need, and I met the need. We so quick, Instagram and Facebook. I seen a girl, I'm riding in my car yesterday, and I could tell. You don't have to even tell me. I seen her. She had it was a nice little red car. No license plate on it. She, ching, 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 ching. I already know. It's a brand new car, and you're posting it to somebody saying, oh, I got a brand new car. Check me out. Hot red. Hot red. Here we go. Sometimes we got to think about why we do stuff. Is it all about me? That's what this society is teaching us now. It's all about me. I never heard of this before. When I used to watch basketball when I was a kid, Michael Jordan and all of them, they competed. Slam dunk contest, all of that. Now players don't want to get in a slam dunk contest because I don't want to mess up my brand. If I lose, I'm messing up my brand. So I can't go there. I go over here to this team because I want to elevate my brand. It ain't about the competition. It's about your money and me. How much more can I be worth? It just ain't about me playing on the basketball court. It's about all the deals I do off the court. It's all about me. All of this Instagram. You wake up in the morning. This is what I'm eating today. Look, this morning, look at the beautiful skies that I wake up to this morning. It's all about me. Let me flatter me. Let me let you know all the things that's going on with me. And lo and behold, you just as disgusted as you can be. You just as depressed as you can be. That's why I don't even care for that mess. But you know what? I understand the good part in it. Don't get that twisted. I do understand the good in it. Okay, so I say that, but I say that with the mentality that are you doing it with the right purpose? Doing it with the right purpose. You getting up in the morning and you giving God the glory, you giving God the thanks, and you waking up every morning, you sending out something to somebody that may touch somebody's heart. Do it. When I was with loss prevention at Walmart, every morning when I got to work, I sent out a gospel message of the day. A gospel message of the day. Folks would tell me, Maceo, I would get folks replying to me, Maceo, we ain't got your reply today. We ain't got your topic of the day. But that's because I wasn't doing it. It wasn't about me. I was doing it so I could encourage people. I want to encourage the folks that was working with me every day to look to something. The Bible says, look to the hills from which cometh your help. Your help cometh from the Lord. Here in the 2 Kings 4:10 and 12. Let us, she said, let us make a little chamber, I pray thee, on the wall, and let us set for him there a bed, and a table, and a stool, and a candlestick. And it shall be, when he cometh to us, that he shall turn in thither. And it fell on a day that he came thither, and turned into the chamber, and lay there. Now now let's back up here. What she's saying is, she turned to her husband. She turned to her husband and said, you know what? I need to do more for him than just bread and water. Just bread and water. How about we make a chamber for him? How about we make a room? You know the story. Let's make a room for him. And let's put in there, let's put a table, a chair, a candle lamp. Let's put this in there in the bed so he can rest. And the thing I liked about it is, if you notice, it says in the beginning of this, it says she was a great woman. They had a large estate. They had money. She could have easily said, well, you know, let's clear out a room for him. But no, she built a room for him. She said, I'm going to give you something new. I'm going to give you something new. I'm going to put you up here. I'm going to make a staircase. I'm going to give you your own room. And I like the husband. See, this is why we got to be careful in relationships. Because the husband could have been like, whoa, hold on. No. I was all right with the bread and water because y'all was sitting at the table. Now you talking about making him a room. Now you talking about making him a room now. Whoa. In my house. Ain't no part-time lovers up in here. Whoa. Ain't nothing. We ain't doing that. We ain't doing that up in here. I don't know this man like that. You talking about making him a room. No, it ain't going to happen. See, but that's where that jealousy, envy will mess up a relationship. Understand, relationships sometimes come in seasons. And that means sometimes I love you and you might be blood. And we both might be running for Jesus. But there comes a time that I might have to separate from you. I love you though. But in this here, he was like, no, he was okay with it. He wasn't jealous. This is another man and his wife. And he was okay with it. I'll build this room. I'll give you the money to do this. Understand, don't mess up a relationship based on the fact that it has nothing to do with you. Because that blessing, sometimes that relationship is going to bless you. You don't see it now. He didn't see it right then, but that relationship blessed him. Amen. I tell you, my thing is acting up. The devil is a lie. And as you go down to the 20th verse, and when, hold on, this thing really give me problems. And it fell on a day that he came thither and turned into the chamber and lay there. This Elijah, he came. It's one day after he'd been in the chamber, he's in the room, he's laying down, he's thinking to himself. And he said to his servant, called this Shunammite. And when he had called her, she stood before him. She stood at the door. And he asked, and Elijah asked her, he said, well, what is it that I can do for you? He said, can I go to the king on your behalf? What can I do? Does your husband desire a position? What can I do for you? You bless me. Now I want to bless you. And that's the thing we got to understand. Sometimes we think sometimes that the time that we invest in God, and that sometimes it doesn't, there's no return on that investment. We're not seeing it fast enough. But here, he said, well, hold on. You done blessed me here. You done blessed me there. What can I do now to bless you? And she stood there. She said, hold on. I didn't do this. I didn't do this for you to bless me. I didn't do this so you could give me something. I'm good amongst my people. We're good amongst our people. We don't need your money. We don't need money. We don't need things. We need nothing. And then she walked away. Now she didn't say it in a rude way, but she didn't say, no, I need nothing. And then Elijah's servant turned to him and said, well, Elijah asked him, he said, well, what is it that we can do for her? And he said, well, the husband old, and she didn't have no child. They don't have a child. So what he called her back. He said, around this season, the time of season of life, you'll have a son. And she said, man of God. She said, don't lie to me. Man of God, don't lie to me. I didn't do this for that reason. Man of God, why thou hast lied to me? Don't lie to me. I didn't do. And Elijah didn't rebuke her. He let her know. This time and around that time next year, she had a son. This is why it's important. It's so important sometimes to have no hidden agendas. When you don't have a hidden agenda and you're doing things from the purest point of your heart, God can bless you. He can bless you. But if you're doing it just so you can get something, then this is when it becomes a problem. The wrong, as you said, the wrong motivation. And we'll go down here to the 18th verse. And then I'm done. After this, I'm done. And when the child was grown, it fell on a day that he went out to his father to the reapers. This was that time of season that it was high time. It was time to work. And this is harvest time. And everybody was out. It was everybody. They was working. The father didn't have time for this. Just like a father, the son goes to him, and he said unto his father, my head, my head. And he said to the lad, carry him to his mother. Just like a man. The baby heard he crying. Go to your mother. Go to your mama. I don't have time for this. Go to your mama. I got to work. There's work to be done. And when he had taken him and brought him to his mother, he sat in her knees till noon and then died. And she went up and laid him in the bed of the man of God and shut the door upon him and went out. And then she went on and she went to her husband. And she told her husband, she said, she went out and she said, can you saddle up a donkey and give me some workers so I can go to Mount Carmel to see Elijah? He said, hold on, whoa, this is neither new moon nor Sabbath. Why then are you going? She said to him, it shall be well. It shall be well. But if I can just back up for a moment, I want to back up for a moment because This woman sat there from morning to noon. She sat there, and I can imagine she sat there with her son. She sat there with her son, and he probably had a towel on his head. And while he had the towel on his head, she was saying, it's going to be all right. He fell dead in her lap. He fell dead. This woman, this Shunammite woman, I want to talk to y'all about the faith in this woman. Because, Jason, she didn't call for the nurse. She didn't call for the doctor. She sat there with a dead child in her lap. And when she got up, she walked up the stairs. And understand, faith, that was a faith walk. Because she went back upstairs. And she laid the baby. He wasn't a baby. He was grown then. But he was her baby. And she laid her child in the bed where the promise was. She laid the child where the promise was. This is where the promise was made. And this is where I'm going to leave him. And when she left out, she shut the door. Sometimes you got to shut the door on some things in your life. She shut the door for a reason. Because I don't want nobody to come up here and see something and act crazy. Because it ain't over. It ain't over. When she told him, it shall be well. When she got halfway up to Mount Carmel, Elijah sent down his servant. And he said, go and see, is it well? And when the servant got to her, he asked her, he said, is it well? And the Shunammite woman, she said, it is well with me. It is well with my husband. It is well with my child. She ran it down and said, it is well. Her baby sitting there dead. And she said, it is well. It is well. When she got down, when she fell at the feet of Elijah and pleaded with him, why did you give me this child? And this child will fall dead. I didn't ask you for this child. Sometimes we got to fall at the feet of Jesus and tell him about our troubles. Tell him, why, Lord, am I going through what I'm going through? You bless me with it. Why don't we want to give our problems to him? Because sometimes we think that we have the answers. Let me tell you, Google don't have all the answers. Sometimes we think Google got it all. If I Google it, then we got YouTube. Well, if I can just search it on YouTube, they'll tell me how to get to where I need to go. I can visually see it. Can we talk to the one, the master, the one that gave it to us? He created us. Go back to the creator. Not the creation, but the creator. She went to the one that gave the promise. And he then sent out his servant. And she said, I'm going to stand right here. You sent him, but I'm waiting on you. You sent him, but I'm waiting on you. Just like Jacob said, I'm going to wrestle with this angel till you change my name. I'm going to wrestle with you. I'm going to hold on to you. I ain't going nowhere till there is a change. She said, I'm going to stay here with you, Elijah, till you go back to that room and you pray for my son. I'm not going nowhere. Sometimes we got to understand, just like her, you got to have that faith. You got to furnish that faith that says, I'm not going to be moved until there is a change. And then when the servant went down there, he put Elijah's staff on him, on the little boy. Nothing happened. He ran back and met up with Elijah and the Shunammite woman and said, nothing's changed. So when Elijah went there, you know the story. He laid on top of the child, and the body waxed warm. He got up off the child. He walked around and he prayed. He went to and fro praying within the house. He went back the second time and he laid on top of the child. Eye to eye, nose to nose, mouth to mouth. And he prayed. And we know the story. The child sneezed 7 times. Understand that God can bless you if you are willing to bless him. With no hidden agendas, with no motives. But there is a blessing in being a blessing. You don't always have to be the one that's receiving. What does the scripture say? It's better to give than to receive. We are in a different time now where everything's about us receiving, receiving, receiving. That's all we want is to receive. Nobody wants to give of their time. Nobody wants to give of their money. Only thing they want to give of is, well, we want to give part-time. We want part-time service, but we want part-time commitment, but full-time service. We want God full-time, but we want to give him part-time service. And that's not good enough. That's not good enough. We got to be willing to give full-time service to him. Because every day that we wake up, it's a blessing. And we need to know that. And we need not be afraid. We need not to be afraid to tell people about him. We're so afraid today. It's crazy sometimes. People are afraid to say that they are saints. Afraid to say it because people put labels on you. I don't care what label you put on me. I'm just like my grandmother said, I won't tell you how T.I. is. I may not say a whole lot. But you say something, and I won't tell you what the truth is. I won't tell you the truth. I ain't going to hide it. And I try to tell my kids that all the time. Don't be real. Be real. Be the type of person that pays attention to what's going on around us. Be the type of person that wants to build up relationships. That you want to be mentored by somebody. Because when you want to be mentored by somebody, you want to be held accountable. That's what the problem is today. This guy on my job keeps talking about how he don't, oh man, I'll never get married. Da, 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 da. Me and my girl been together for a year. Well, you scared of commitment. You're scared of commitment. That's what it is. It's commitment. There's a commitment. Nobody wants commitment, but they want everything that comes with a commitment. You want everything that comes with a commitment without a commitment. Make people commit to you. Commit to you. Don't be part-time nothing for nobody. Part-time nothing for nobody. You want full-time love. You gonna work for full-time love with commitment, not part-time. We thank you on today. I hope that I said something that helped you. Hope that the Holy Ghost was a blessing to you on today.